Hello there, StarCraft fans. Horst here yet again with another replay, myself versus Rival, a Zerg player, very similarly rated on the ladder. He is quite good. This is probably one of the best PvZs I've played in a very long time. Definitely very macro heavy with a lot of action at pretty much the entire game, from early rushes to late game craziness. So I figured I would share this with the world. This is on Typhon Peaks, which is fast becoming my favorite of the maps out there. Honestly, this map is great for macro games because it's just freaking huge. I mean, this is probably one of the biggest maps outside of Shakura's Plateau. There are plenty of expansions everywhere. It's just a great macro map. As for what we're doing in this game, Rival is going to start out with normal Zerg crap. I don't know what the hell he's doing because he is Zerg and I really don't pay attention to Zerg strategies. However, I am going for a trusty 3-gate expand, which is useful in every situation, so you should probably learn it if you don't know it. It's a great build. Everyone should do it. Unless you're 4-gating, but if you're 4-gating you probably suck, so whatever. Do what you want. I haven't actually seen Rival's opening build. It'll be interesting to see if he goes for a hatch first. I don't remember which he did. He may have gone for pool first. It looks like hatch first build. And there it goes, which is a really good idea on this map, especially because it is such a large map. I could probably go for Nexus first safely, although I really don't know about that. With the ramp being here and the Nexus being here, I'd have to have a wall here to protect both with photon cannons. Might be a little expensive early in the game, we'll have to see. I might play around with it later. But my scout probe finally does get in, and we see Rival going for a spawning pool. Excellent. Spawning pool and the extractor means probably speedlings. We don't know yet though, so we're going to keep our probe around, scouting, just looking at what he's doing. And we're going to see a Roach Warren go down. He's actually showing me the Roach Warren, which means one of two things. He's going to cancel it, which he does not, so I did come back to check that, double check it. But when he shows the Roach Warren, it means that he probably wants me to just prepare for a Roach Rush, not necessarily do a Roach Rush himself. However, I do have to prepare for one, obviously, because if he does one and I'm not expecting it, then I'm screwed. So in order to prepare for that, I'll just have to chrono boost out a couple more units out of my gateways I normally would. A couple more stalkers, a couple less sentries. You need to be stalker heavy to deal with roaches. I mean, if you have 8 sentries, like you do with a normal 3-gate expand, you're not going to do so well against roaches. But he does try to press me with a couple of Zerglings here. I have the sentries out to deny that, and I'm starting to get stalkers out as well. This will shut down any early roach aggression as well. If we look at the income tab, we can see he is not really droning up too heavily. He is instead building up roaches. He's going to go for some early roach pressure. So I am doing a fairly good move here by getting all these stalkers out before I expand. That way if he does attack me with roaches, I'll have a way to hold it off. And he sees my stalkers, so he knows he's going to have to mass up a formidable amount of roaches before he does anything to try to attack me. Plenty of sentries as well. You need roaches and stalkers and sentries to hold off roaches. When you have the two combined, you are pretty effective at stopping them. He's scouting with an Overlord, doing a good job of that, and just making more roaches. I am actually ahead in drone count or worker count because I do have chrono boost, and I am not sacrificing workers to make roaches. And I'm going to poke in here with my stalkers, and I see all of his roaches. That's an awful lot of roaches at this point in the game, which means he's probably going to attack me very soon with them. So I will throw down 2 photon cannons to help me defend against this, while expanding, making more probes, getting my expansion up. I'm going to need gas eventually, probably robotics soon, but we'll have to try to hold off the Zerg first. And he is coming out with a massive army. Now when you're dealing with this, it's important to try to deal with it when you're back here. Force field the roaches away so you only get a couple at a time. Of course, the speedlings dart in and make a mess of my entire plan. And I'm going to try to pull back so I only deal with these units at once. I don't want to deal with the whole army at once, so I'll deal with these guys. He does kill most of my sentries there, which is not good. I try to trap a couple of them and they mostly get through. However, if you do look at the worker count, I am still very far ahead in workers. So if I can hold this, I'll be in a great position going in. This is a pretty, it's not, I wouldn't say it's all in, but it requires to do damage in order to work. But here, he does have a huge amount of roaches and speedlings coming in still. I'm working in more reinforcements, trying to work around these mineral patches so that I don't get surrounded. The mineral patch just means that I funnel his Zerglings into a narrow path where their numbers count for nothing. I will keep shooting at them with my Stalkers, and right now the Roaches are doing a fair amount of damage actually, but I'm able to hold them. I've lost a couple of probes, not too many so far. Try to micro around here, just drag the Roaches along while I can work with reinforcements. Get a couple more cannons up in case he tries to reinforce this push with more Roaches. Now at this point he realizes he's not going to win, so he starts to fire probes. I probably should run them away, but at this point I've already lost a fair amount of them. His attack did do a good bit of damage. He knocked me down 8 probes to about equal. So his attack did put us on a fairly equal ground. I mean, as far as units lost go, I lost a couple more units, but nothing major. It's only a 500 mineral difference. So it is still anyone's game. There is no way of telling who's in the lead at this point, although he does have a third base. So he's got a nice, comfortable little zone to be in for the Zerg. Look at the APM, both of us are kind of racing around here. He has a very impressive 220. I'm not sure if he's actually utilizing that or if it's spam though, because he does not have creep spread like he probably should. In any case, he's doing a decent job. That was a very good early attack, put a lot of pressure on me. Really delays my third base, really delays my tech, just delays everything I'm trying to do. You can see he's mass producing speedlings at this point. Looks like he might be going for a contain or some kind of crazy all-in following that up. And all-in at this point would be pretty powerful. I don't have very many sentries. Although I do have +1 weapons on the Zealots, which would eat through Zerglings like no tomorrow. Now he probably wants me to attack there. I'm going to fall back because I really don't want to engage that army in the open like this. I want to engage at a choke point like that at the very worst. Choke points are great to engage. You could probably cover this with 4 force fields, which would be really helpful in holding off this crazy Zergling aggression. Now, when I get my robotics out, because I saw he had a lot of tier 1 units and tier 1.5 units, I'm opting to get Immortals instead of teching right for the robotic support bay. Reason being, he has a lot of Roaches, and if I go for Colossus, I probably won't have any Colossus for a little while. I'll have to wait for the Colossus Den, and I'll have to make a Colossus, and it'll just be a while before I have any combat effective units. Immortals are effective right out of the gate, so I don't have to worry about it. Throwing a couple more cannons. I did see how big his army was. I got pretty nervous about that. So I definitely want a decent defense. 6 cannons in a nice tight cluster like that should do it. I'm going to bust through the back here to get a third base, try to take this one. I really don't want to expand towards the Zerg because that would just give me easier access with Roaches. So I'll just go up there and expand this way. Now he does not want to allow that. He has enough speedlings to stop me from doing it. The question is, will he notice it? And at some point I would have to imagine he will scout that. But hopefully I can get a lot of scouting, a lot of mining done before then, and I can probably get a lot of resources mined from him. So I can get some defenses up. That would also be nice. But he's holding the middle with an iron grip. I really can't break through into the middle because if I try to hold it, I'm in a very wide open space. You can flank me from all directions if I hold this little watchtower. And I really would rather not be in that open position. I'm going to try to fight again at the choke points. This map is full of them. You just have to exploit them. Again, producing more Immortals, getting my +1 armor after my +1 weapons are finally finished. He is actually behind me in upgrades. And as long as a Zerg is at least 1 armor upgrade behind you, you still kill them with 2 shots from the Zealot on the Zergling, which is the most important number you can hit. Although I guess +2 weapons on the Stalker against 0 armor on the Zergling would mean the Stalker 3 shots a Zergling, which is a pretty useful little tidbit to know. But again, he's going to just keep poking, keep expanding. He's up 4 bases to my current 3, and he finally goes in and just knocks this base out completely. I'm going to lose pylons, those cannons. There's a lot of resources lost. I'm going to have no choice now but to expand here. It's a fairly easily defensible area because it only has 1 choke in. It has destructible rocks as well, but it's not too bad. Should be able to hold it. I'm researching hallucination as well. I'm not sure what I intended to do with that. I actually didn't really use it much in this game, but it was a pretty cool idea. I probably thought it would be cool at the time. Maybe I thought I would do some mass hallucinating Colossus or something crazy like that, but it doesn't really pan out too well, but you'll see. And there's my third base. So currently it's 2 base Protoss going on 3 against 4 base Zerg. This is not a good situation for any Protoss player to be in. I'm still making a lot of Immortals. Finally, I'm going to get my Colossus Den soon, so I should be able to deal with that. I noticed he was just Roach Ling heavy, So I figured Sentry Zealot Immortal would be a good way to deal with it. I didn't see too many Hydralisks. You really only need the Colossus to deal with the Hydralisks. Otherwise, you can deal with the Roaches and Lings using gateway units and good force fields. But he is starting to get Hydras in. I do believe I can see that with my observer. Maybe I saw it. I think I did. So I need to get those Colossus in. And they are coming shortly. I'm actually going to mine out my main soon, so I really need this base. If this base dies, it's game over for me. Here he attacks in. Doesn't really do any damage. I just push back. He has to attack through these narrow choke points, and I can really exploit his army's size against him here if I force field it in half and deal with it a little bit at a time. My army is small, but it is powerful. With 3 Immortals currently, it would do a very good job if I can just lure him into one of these points. Here he comes through and finally makes a mistake. So I managed to cut off a good number of Zerglings and kill all of them with no losses to myself. Pretty good victory. It's going to help bring me back into this game. I am a little behind right now after he killed my expansion. Killing all of those Zerglings didn't quite make up for it, but it did help. You can see he's producing 17 Hydralisks. He's doing this because he hasn't seen any of my Colossus yet, because I was going for Immortal, so he doesn't have any Corruptors out in the field yet. So if I can switch quickly and make 2 Colossus, 3 Colossus at once before he can get any Corruptors out, I'll be in a great position. And again, I try to lure him back to this choke point so I can force field him in half. He doesn't bite, instead turns back. I can see him sitting there, so I know he's not doing anything too crazy. At this point, I really don't know what's going on up here in these upper bases. It could be anything. I don't really have a choice, though. I'm pretty occupied right now just staying alive. So I'm going to have to worry about my own army and just try to hope I can kill whatever he throws at me. So I'll try to force field here, but he does manage a nice flank with the Roaches, and just keeps walking right through my force fields. He's not attacking, he's moving and attacking, so doing a great job getting through there. I do hallucinate the Colossus, and I'm going to try to make a last stand here. This battle probably isn't going to go too well in my favor, so we'll have to fall back, reinforce with some more Stalkers, re-attack into him, and hope I can kill him this way. It looks like this battle is going to go in my favor now that I have reinforcements from the Stalkers. However, at what cost? I did lose an awful lot. I have Colossus finally coming out, though. 2 robotic facilities, so it should be able to make enough to survive. As long as it doesn't get too many Corruptors, I should be okay. Corruptors really would have an easy time picking off the Colossus without very many Stalkers on the ground. You can see he's starting to make Corruptors. Thermal Lance almost done, so I should be able to micro around with the Stalkers with Thermal Lance Colossus and try to keep them alive that way. Normally, after the Zerg attacks and you kill the entire Zerg army, you're supposed to make a counterattack. However, I can see his army moving around over there with my observer. I know as a fact I can't take it. I need to sit here at this choke point and rebuild. I'm in a pretty bad situation right now. You never really want to army trade completely with the Zerg. You always want to win every battle with a decisive victory so you can keep getting a little bit more ahead each and every time. However, right now we are almost dead even in units lost, but he is on a better economy, so this is not working out for me. I need to keep turtling up a little bit, try to get a better army. Once the tech advantage comes in my favor, I'll probably have an edge. Protoss higher tech is better than Zerg higher tech. Do that, I'll need another base. I'm going to try to take this base. It's a risky 4th base to take, but again, there really are no safe options for a 4th base at this point with these positions. I could expand here, or I could expand here, and I've already seen what happens when I try to expand here. Nothing good comes of it. So we're going to try down here. Its overlords are interestingly positioned just so they don't give vision of my nexus. If you check what he sees, he cannot see my nexus, which is pretty cool. A little scouting party of Zerglings comes in here, gets easily vaporized. They're just Zerglings. If I can get this base up and running, it's going to be 4 base against 5 base Zerg, which is actually pretty Protoss favored. I mean, once Protoss gets on 4 base, he's pretty hard to stop. Dug in like an Alabama tick. Protoss are pretty good. But I have 4 Colossus, not relying too much on them. I've seen a lot of players go like 8, 9 Colossus. It's just craziness. You need a lot of Stalkers to protect against those Corruptors. He's getting a decent-sized army, Corruptors and Hydras and Roaches. Very scary for Zerg. Still massing those Roaches. He's pretty much maxed right now. His upgrades, though, are still worse than mine, which is saying something, considering my upgrades are pretty darn bad, being only 1-1 at 24 minutes into the game. I do believe I am researching something else. No, I am not. I should be, though. Getting the Twilight Council so I finally can. The Late Council does hurt me a bit. And here you can see the Zerg attacking my base. Fortunately, I do have these photon cannons here. They're not going to be able to attack, not going to be able to fight this whole attack off, but it will buy me enough time to hopefully get my army back before he can eat through my entire expansion here. My Colossus down here are going to do a nice job of eating through his army. All of my Stalkers focus firing on the Corruptors, trying to save my Colossus. I probably will lose the Colossus, but as long as I kill all of his Corruptors, it's okay if I lose the Colossus, because it will reset his Corruptor count as well as my Colossus count. So we'll both have to remake our Colossus and anti-Colossus units. It is okay. So I do manage to clean that up. Again, I did lose all of my Colossus, but with 2 robotics facilities producing them, I should have them replenished in no time, as long as I keep chrono boosting. Chrono boost getting a little high on all of my Nexuses. I probably should be doing a better job of that, but oh well, I have plenty of other things on my mind at this point in the game. You can see Roaches coming up. He's making 20, 30 of them at a time. Insane mass Roach. Zerg can do it. They love it. His gas is a little low. If you look at my army, I have the opposite problem. I'm a little low on minerals. I have plenty of gas. We check the income tab. Both of us are sitting at around 62 workers, which is a pretty good number to have. Usually want to have closer to 70, but oh well, this will have to do. I think we've been losing a couple of workers. I have been losing workers. I know he has not, but he's been doing a couple of attacks down here I think we missed. I've been losing workers a little bit at a time. I'm not really replenishing them as I should be. But right now, I have a pretty scary army at 150 supply. He is maxed, but it is much less scary for him because he does not have any high-tech units, while I am sitting on 2 Colossus and a bunch of Sentries for force fields, which are incredibly potent against the Zergs. And here's one of his Zergling run-bys, just comes in and annihilates all of my probes. So annoying. While he is doing this, I will try to go eat through his army with my Colossus Stalker Sentry Ball. Failing to do that, I will have to counterattack. Well, not really counterattack, but retake my Natural, which is now under attack by Zerglings. Fortunately, Colossus can cliff walk and do whatever the hell they want at all times. So I'll be able to repel this with my minimum casualties. I do take some hull damage on a Colossus, which is actually pretty bad because the Corruptors will have an easier time killing it now. But I'm still sitting on 4 bases, one of them not really mining so much, while the Zerg is sitting on 5, going on 6 bases. I really need to even the base count. Eventually I'll have to take another base, most likely going to be this one or this one. I'm thinking this one's probably safer, given that this one is right next door to the Zerg main, and it would be really easy for him to reinforce from here to here. But we'll have to keep going, pressuring the Zerg, doing what in control likes to call shark mode, which is moving your army around. Never really want the Zerg to have a fix on you, then he can set up flanks. If you keep moving, he can't set up such awesome flank grabs so easily. I'm just going to bust out these rocks. I am thinking of taking this as my expansion just to be a dick. If you take expansions along the attack route to your enemy, you have a much easier way of putting pressure on them. However, because he does have so many bases up here, it might not be the best idea. You can see his Roach Corruptor army moving around. Not very scary at this point. There's really not much he can do to kill my army with this little bit. So I'll just cut him in half. Force fields, focus fire the Corruptors. You always got to manually focus fire the Corruptors with the Stalkers, otherwise the Stalkers will just keep shooting at Roaches while the Corruptors do the real damage. So it's important to very manually focus fire that. But we can see I am currently maxed. He is currently maxed. We're just doing the dance of 2 maxed armies at this point. And because I'm maxed, I think it would be cool to throw down a Stargate. Start going for a Mothership. God knows Motherships are underused. They should be used all the time by everyone in every situation. If it's early game, make a Mothership. Late game, make a Mothership. Who cares? It is awesome. There's never a bad time for Motherships. And here we see I'm just poking at him with a couple of Blink Stalkers. I don't really want to engage. Just want to poke. If I can provoke an engagement in a narrow choke point, that would be pretty cool, but I probably can't. So I'll just keep mining. Income again. Actually in my favor, which is pretty cool. Probably because his drone saturation is off at a lot of his bases. I mean, if we look at his bases here, this one is pretty good. This one is undersaturated. I'm not sure what all these drones are. Oh, they're trenching. Meanwhile, he tries to attack me. It doesn't really work out too well for him. is still upgrading his carapace level 2. I'm still on 1-1, almost at level 2 weapons here. But I did manage to actually cut between two of his armies. He has a roach ball here, and he had a roach ball here. He wanted to split up to protect, so I am between him right now, so I can attack one direction. He has to try to pincer me. But I can cut him in half with force field, so he can't really get a pincer off. So that's not going to work out too well for him, but it'll be great for me. And the fleet beacon is down. We'll start on the mothership the second we have the free supply to do so. We'll eat through his roaches here, and turn around and eat through the reinforcement roaches. And roaches being as fast as they are, he will run away. And he will keep running forever because they are much faster than stalkers even. Even with blink, stalkers cannot catch and kill roaches effectively. A shame, but oh well. They keep running and running and running. And I still don't have my supply for my mothership. Unfortunate. I will get it eventually, I swear. But we'll keep running. Blinking. And it looks like he's going right for my new expansion I just made. Again. I'll have to throw up 1,000 photon cannons, try to stop him. I do have plenty of money to do it. Unfortunately, it looks like he's going to go right in and focus fire that Nexus. Roaches do insane damage for their cost, so that Nexus has no chance of living. Unfortunate, I lose my base up here yet again. This expansion is cursed for me. I am not a fan of it, but I will deal with it in due time. By retaking it, unfortunately. So now it is 4 base Protoss against 7 base Zerg. Again, that's not really in my favor, but it'll have to do. We'll see. If you look at the units lost tab, these battles have been pretty decisively in my favor for a while now, so as long as I can keep the battles in my favor, as long as I can keep mining a decent income rate, this is a pretty good income rate actually, as long as I can keep that up, I should be able to come out on top. Just keep killing whatever the Zerg throws at me. I'm pretty confident I can do that. And over here, I'm going to throw down 5 Stargates, because I am anticipating this army to die eventually. He'll probably switch to mass Broodlords or something crazy like that, and a switch from mass units that are good against ground to units that are good against air, which is pretty cool, and he might not expect it. So if he goes like mass Broodlord Ultra, and then I switch to mass Voids, should eat right through him. We shall see if it works that way or not. Here he is with a huge Corruptor force with Broodlords. This is not going to be something that my army can deal with, actually. These Corruptors are incredibly powerful against my Colossus. Without my Colossus, I'll just die to these roaches. And the Broodlords, of course, are icing on the cake. I can't hold this. I need to fall back. So I blink away and try to run. Thank God if these narrow choke points again, I can force field him off and try to escape through here. I did lose a fair bit of my army there, but I am remaxing on Voids, or at least trying to. So we'll just go up through here, try to kill a hatchery on the way, or ambush my more Corruptors, and try to kill them if possible. Unfortunately, the roaches, being as fast as holy hell, catch up, and I will have to fall back yet again. Fortunately, Stalkers are pretty fast, they can retreat. I might lose a couple of units, lose my sentries, but I have a mothership, and I have a bunch of Void Rays coming out, a bunch of Stalkers. And it looks like he's going for my poor cursed expansion again. Oh god, why? Ugh. Fortunately, his units are not too good against air units. He has Broodlords and he has Corruptors, but not many Corruptors, so I should be able to deal with this pretty easily. I managed to catch a lot of these Broodlords while they're morphing. It's a huge loss for him. Broodlords are extremely expensive. And I'm going to be able to hit him with the Voids right now, kill a bunch of more of these Broodlords. A lot of Broodlords are going to die. That's important. You can see, even though he has a lot of bases, he is strapped for cash. I have to retreat my Stalkers under the cover of the mothership, where they will be perfectly safe. And fortunately, I don't think he's able to fight his way through here to kill my Nexus again. I should be able to fight this off with all my Blink Stalkers down there, which are finally 2-2. Again, same upgrades as the Zerg. I would like to be ahead, but what are you going to do? Good luck sniping my cursed Nexus when it is cloaked. And there he goes for the burrow. Very annoying. I don't have any observers. I'll have to pull one from way the hell down here. But I'll do it. It'll be fine. I am managing to stay near maxed. Again, remassing Void Rays. I think I eventually get +1 air weapons as well. A pretty handy upgrade to have for your Void Rays. And I'll try to keep remassing up my army. Income is still not bad for me, even though I lost a whole hell of a lot of probes here, and I'm mined out at 3 of my bases now. Back to production, I'm going to make a Colossus or 2. A lot of Zerg complain about Void Ray Colossus. Let's hear them complain about Void Ray Mothership Colossus. Much harder to deal with. And all these roaches are going to die right now. So, my observers finally made it over. Along with more Void Rays. And the Zerg at this point does not know what the hell to do because I just switched tech faster than the Zerg possibly does. They usually switch pretty quickly between Broodlords, Ultralisks, Roaches, and all that jazz. Well, I just switched into Mass Void Rays in like 30 seconds flat. Now what? Honestly, the Zerg could probably go Mass Muta. That wouldn't be a bad idea, but he is pretty limited by gas. His income hasn't been the greatest this game. He's having saturation problems on his bases. Here his probes income for a counterattack, or his Zerglings come in for a counterattack, and do some pretty decent damage. Managed to kill a whole hell of a lot there. One of my few mining bases left is going to be under siege by them. He's attacking moving here, which should be just regular moving. I have a bunch of zealots there, which are being lazy as all hell and not doing their job. I will notice them now, though, and they will go attack. Fortunately for me, I do have weapons upgrades. He has armor upgrades, though, so it kind of nullifies him, but still it's cool. And I'll just easily cut through that attack. And you can see Zerg is strapped for cash at this point. Worse than ever. I'm not sure where all of his drones are, but they aren't doing their job. They're not mining properly. He only has 1, 2, 3 mining bases to my 2 mining bases. But he has these very annoying speedlings, which can just run and go wherever the hell they damn well please. And there's almost nothing I can do to stop them. Oh well. Well, I could make a lot of photon cannons, I suppose. I do have plenty of money, but I will instead opt to go for a counterattack, because at this point I am fairly certain my army is unstoppable by the Zerg. I only have 1 Colossus, but when you have this many Void Rays and Stalkers, who's going to argue with you? Nobody. That's who. I even have a Mothership for Vortexing. I mean, all I have to do is focus fire any Overseers, then focus fire any Corruptors, and my army is pretty much invincible, actually. But I don't even need to do that, because attack moves through him. I did see a couple of Broodlords. I was a little nervous about it. He comes and tries to flank him, but his army at this point is just way too small to manage that. We'll just roll right through him. Just have a couple of Zerglings counterattacking, but it doesn't matter. His supply is plummeting, mine is not. As my army supply falls, I can work in reinforcements to clean this up, while the rest of the army moves on. And that is an epic game. I really enjoyed playing it. It was a lot harder to cast than I thought it would be. My god, my throat is actually sore. I will have to work on endurance, I suppose. Thank you for watching, guys, and if anyone is actually curious, I do offer coaching sessions for $15 an hour. Just send me a message on YouTube if you are interested. I will respond to you with scheduling information. Thank you for watching.